Hey there, welcome. This is the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Let's go. Yes, we know the debate setup is going to be adversarial. We know that President Trump basically agreed to every request at the President Biden behest, and President Trump had no request that Biden had to agree to. So, yeah, we know. But this is the only way, this is the quickest way to guarantee that we were even going to get a debate, because we're worried about not even having one. So to start out the show here, we're going to start with a little preview of the debate. Joining me is Connor Vasil, and he's with Young Voices. Listen, Connor, we know it's going to be biased. Does the rest of America know how biased this debate's going to be? The undecided voters that really don't pay attention, that are watching, are they going to know?
Thanks for having me. On its face value, you look at these debate requirements, right, that you just mentioned, and it pretty much looks like a 3 versus 1, right? You have CNN, you got Biden versus Trump. So right on the surface, it looks like he's fighting an uphill battle. However, if he plays his cards right and he stays focused on the facts of the matter, he can actually turn up winning at the end, I believe.
So one of the issues that's been brought up by not just me, but about 8 other people, so I can't take credit for this, is, yes, we know that the other guy is going to be muted while the current guy is talking, but do the moderators have the ability to talk over and interrupt an answer?
Oh, well, you know how CNN is. They're very impartial. They're going to be very balanced and cool about it. So I don't think, no, I mean, at the end of the day, they're probably going to do that if they don't like a Trump answer. But unfortunately, that's just one of those things that we don't know until we see it in action. They do have power over that little mute button. But I actually think that may come as a benefit for Trump, because if he just lets Biden go on, he's going to come out with a Bidenism or two that we all know and love. So that could actually help Trump in the end.
Yeah, I'm not so much anticipating that there be an awkward pause or even a Bidenism or a wandering off moment. They've had a whole week here to reset his circadian rhythms, and they're going to hit him with the cocaine dart in the neck right before he walks out on stage. So I think people are expecting too much. If you think this guy's going to fall apart, all he has to do is be upright for the duration of the debate, and the moderators will help him out. And the expectations are so low. As long as he gets through this, he can declare victory.
So is that how they're going to get past the drug test they promised to take beforehand?
I don't think they agreed to take the drug test. That would be weird, though. What drugs? I mean, what would you test for? Because it's not like he took out a hunter stash.
Well, hey, maybe. Who knows these days, right? I don't know, any stimulants in that sense. But, I mean, yeah, as you mentioned, the bar is so low, if there even is one, that even just standing on his own 2 feet and speaking coherently for a little bit of time, it's seen as a win for him. But even if that's the case, right, Trump can still pull ahead if he focuses on the facts, he ignores the ad hominem attacks, just like was done to him in 2020, right, calling him a threat to democracy, challenger, a threat to women's health care. If he ignores that and does better than he did in 2020, and he actually connects to Americans and shows them exactly the abysmal situation that's happening now under the Biden administration, he can pull through. But he needs to stay focused and just forget about all those personal attacks that Biden may throw at him.
So whose idea was it to do the commercial breaks? Because the whole thing is 90 minutes long, and there's not always commercial breaks in these debates. Was that one of the concessions?
Yes, it was, I believe. I'm not sure who exactly particularly proposed that. However, we do know there are going to be 2 commercial breaks. There's going to be minimum, if any, I don't even think at all, interaction with aides. They're not allowed to have any notes on stage.
Right. And during the breaks, right, they can't have anyone come talk to them and brief them real quick. But I don't know if that was CNN's idea or if that was Biden's idea. Because if it was Biden's idea, brilliant. If it's CNN's idea, also brilliant. But, that's so you can sell some really good advertising in those 2 breaks there. Anything else that you think is going to happen at this debate that no one else is talking about?
Well, I know we are all focusing on the particulars of the rules and such. However, I think what's really important to know here is that people like you and me and other people, if they're partisan, they toe the party line, whatever that may be, they already know who they're voting for, either Trump, Biden, a third party, etc., right? This debate is not for people like that. This debate is for the independent voices, the undetermined voters who want to see who they can throw their support at. And both candidates here in this situation better do a good job at reaching at those people. That's why it's so imperative that, let's say, President Donald Trump stays on the mark and actually connects with Americans, showing them, reminding them how they feel under a Biden presidency, and if they truly are better now than they were over 4 years ago. That is the key to this debate, and we'll see.
I don't think it's that contentious in the eyes of the American public as it is in the news. Most of the people I talk to, because I have plenty of friends on both sides of the political spectrum, they think this is going to be fun. Well, me and some of my friends we're going to a bar. We're going to be up at Bottle Rockets to watch the debate because they're going to have it on the big screen. It just had the NBA Finals and the Stanley Cup Finals. Now we're doing the debate. This isn't so negative and doomy as the TV people make it out here in the real world.
That's true. I mean, that's a great outlook to have, especially in life. But 2024, I would argue the most contentious and important election in our history and to the future. So we'll just see how that has to go.
Are you going to a party or anything, or are you taking this serious? Are you going to be in like a war room?
Well, we'll see. When was it? 9 o'clock Eastern time, right? So That's well past my bedtime. So we'll have to see. But I think I'll make some time at home and I'll take a look.
All right, Connor Vassell, thanks for taking some time on the James Show. How do they find you outside of WBAP?
Thank you. You can find me out on Twitter at Connor_Vasile. Thank you.
Vasile. Thank you, Connor. All right. I'm not sure you understand. And listen, you're an informed person. You're listening to talk radio. You know more than 90% of the people, probably 95% of the people that are walking down the sidewalk right now. But I still don't think you understand just how adversarial this debate setup is going to be. So we're going to hop in the DeLorean. Garrett brought the flux capacitor, and we're going to go back in time. And we're going to revisit some sound bites throughout Dana Bash and Jake Tapper history, your moderators for the debate, and put this in context. And I think you'll understand a little better. He's walking into a war right here. He's walking into a battle, which means this is going to be a fun debate on Thursday. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, welcome. You're listening to The James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. The big debate's tomorrow. A debate like none other, and an election like none other. Whether you think whether or not this is the most important election of our lifetime, I really despise that phrase because I've heard it from the same people every election, and you can't tell me every election it's the most important election in your lifetime and have me still believe it. But this is certainly weird. Just some weird stuff going on. Because, okay, listen, there's some things that I just want to heighten your awareness of them. I'm not saying you're wrong, and I'm not saying you don't already know this, but I'm not sure you understand how adversarial this debate setup is. It's not just the fact that there's no audience. Now, the no audience thing is huge because you want a controlled environment, especially if you have a guy that chases butterflies, guy that's just a Roomba, doesn't know what to do with his hands, like Ricky Bobby in that first interview when he wins. He does that sometimes. And so what you want is a controlled environment, and you don't want the American public to see your guy get distracted. You can't have an audience because there might be a kid in there, and he might want to sniff the kid. And so you've got to limit the variables that can throw your dude off. And, I don't know if you understand how big the no audience thing is. That means even if Trump does have a bunch of good punchlines, even if he does do some really smart stuff off the cuff that catches people off guard, even if he does have some good zingers, there's not going to be the laugh. There's not going to be, because look, it's not just the zinger that matters. It's this noise right here. When Americans hear other Americans laughing at something, they get the signal that it's okay to laugh at them. They can't have Biden being laughed at. They also can't have him being booed. They also can't have some protesters saying, stop the genocide in Palestine, because, those goobers are going to show up. So that's number one. Number two is just look at all of the concessions and all the rules of the debate. They were all set by Biden. Donald Trump didn't ask for any concessions. Donald Trump didn't ask for any rules. Biden asked for all of them, and all of them were granted. Was there anything Biden asked that he didn't get? Was there anything Trump even asked? So just knowing that, this is going to be a very contentious debate. But one thing we know right now, or you're being told, is Biden's off in some log cabin by Camp David, and he's prepping. He's getting ready for the debate. And so, look, we know that most of the week he's just going to be hiding out so he doesn't have to do anything public and embarrass himself. But make no mistake, he's getting ready. And look, he still has to get ready. Even though he's walking into a studio at CNN headquarters, which is a network that's dedicated pro-Biden and anti-Trump. It's in Fulton County, which you'll say, oh, Georgia's a red state. No, Fulton County voted 72% Democrat. But no doubt that there's debate prep going. Because, look, there's a lot that goes into debate prep besides just studying the issues. I know some people that help with debate prep, like Evan Sayet, who's on the show quite a bit. He's one of those guys. He's a comedy writer. He used to write for sitcoms, then he wrote for Bill Maher and Politically Incorrect for years, and he's wrote in some movies and now some books. But he does a lot of speech writing now, and he does a lot of political writing, and he does a lot of still joke writing. But you have comedy writers in there writing slogans, writing jokes, writing insults, and those punchlines and those big zingers, right? You have guys writing those for you. These guys don't come up with that off the top of their head. Ted Cruz is a funny guy, but he's not that funny. And then for Biden, they're probably also working on some other things that he'll need at the debate. They're probably practicing walking. They don't normally have to do that, but that's been an issue. If there is a kid somehow on the crew or whatever, just training him not to sniff kids. You're like, look, after the debate, you'll be able to sniff all the kids. We're going to have a whole corral of like 9 or 10 kids, and you can just go sniff away for hours. But during the actual broadcast, please don't. They'll probably tell him where the exits are, too, so he doesn't do the weird wandering thing. But I guarantee you the moderators are doing the same thing. Jake Tapper and Dana Bash. First, funny names. Jake Tapper, I barely know her. Get it? And Dana Bash. Oh, sorry, I'm married. Anyway, that being said, they're getting ready. However, they're supposed to get ready. There's nothing suspicious. I've moderated a few debates and candidate forums on like local and state levels, little things. And there's certainly some prep involved. You have to know what you're going to ask. You have to know what their issues are. You have to know what the candidates do and don't want you to ask, and be sure and ask both sides of that coin. But Tapper and Bash are also preparing their own zingers. They're also preparing their own little slogans and jokes and opening statements and closing statements. They may even have some comedy writers and some speech writers in there, because for them, this is a chance. Think about it. If you're Jake Tapper or Dana Bash, are you really most interested in getting a fair, open, honest discussion between the two candidates to the American public? Or have you already established pretty hard that you do not like Donald Trump and you prefer Joe Biden to be president? And this is a great opportunity for you to exercise the powers at your disposal to help make that happen. If you have any doubt about their dedication and to both liking Biden and disliking Trump, let's go in the Wayback Machine. We brought the DeLorean, and I misspoke earlier. Bushman brought the flux capacitor. Thank you, Eric. And let's go see what... all right, I got Jake Tapper here. This was Jake Tapper on Election Day in 2020 announcing the results. They called it for Biden.
Now the Trump presidency is coming to an end. It has been a time where truth and fact were treated with disdain. It is a time of cruelty, an era of just plain meanness. For tens of millions of our fellow Americans, their long national nightmare is over.
Yeah, he sounds like a nice, unbiased, impartial observer of fact. Sure, nothing wrong. No bias there. Oh, it's just he's so dishonest. He just lies so much. That's crazy to say because, looking back, this was in the end of 2020, about the time that Jake Tapper and his crew was going to lie to you about masks, and before that they were lying about social distancing and the efficacies of lockdowns, and then they're going to lie to you about the vaccines and then the boosters. I mean, there was just a whole avalanche of lies that were happening at that time. And look, this was following just all these other lies that were happening. Remember net neutrality was supposed to kill the internet. You're supposed to have to pay to get on Facebook. Did that ever happen? Are you still alive after net neutrality? Are we still alive after the tax cuts were supposed to destroy the economy? Are you still alive? I mean, did they get anything right? Russia collusion, Hunter's laptop. This is Jake Tapper and Dana Bash after the first Trump-Biden debate in October of 2020. Then it's perfect because these two were working together on CNN after the debate. These are the two people that are going to be moderating this debate.
That was the worst debate I have ever seen. In fact, it wasn't even a debate. It was a disgrace, primarily because of President Trump lying, maliciously attacking the son of the vice president.
You just took the words out of my mouth. You used some high-minded language. I'm just going to say it like it is. That was a show.
Yeah, I had to edit that, and I'm sorry to use the the gas sound, but my beeper's in the shop. The thing, ooh, I have to do it with my mouth because it's not working right now. So they gave me a loaner, but they didn't have another beeper, so they gave me this fart box, and it's what I had to. So when it gets out of the shop, we'll have more mature editing. But I want to ask you: is there any way that this debate is going to be any kind of close to fair? Or do you see what I see? And Trump is walking into a completely adversarial position. Now, he should still do it. He's still right to do it. This is the only chance to get his message to a bunch of people that watch CNN who are normally not paying attention. So, yeah, but I mean, I feel like they're going to spring some sort of trap, not like a bear trap, but some sort of rhetorical thing, like some gotcha questions. They're just going to be every question's a gotcha question. What do you think? 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. It's the James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Now let's talk to my buddy Bob Lavelle, who is, not doing debate prep as much as he is getting people out of the rent race and into their dream homes. How are things going in the real estate world in DFW, Bob?
Well, everything is slow when you hear everything on the news, of course, about how rough it is. And, of course, Mr. Biden did not stop the rise of interest rates. He did not talk to his Treasury Secretary about it. He did promise 3 reductions this year, which we have not had one. We did have 2 increases. So it makes it slow. And so, as we mentioned last time, we're going to take July off of my spots with you that I love because we've helped a lot of folks. So I'm telling them they need to copy that number down for July because we are going to take July off. And there still will be people that say, Bob, I want to get out of this rent race. And I know you can still get buy down on interest rates through your preferred lenders. I know you can still do deals through your builders. So we still want to get a house. So we're going to be here for that. But with all the people on vacation in July, well, except for Biden, he's already on vacation for the last 3 years.
I like that. Hey, look, and the whole reason you call Bob is because he has all these connections. He's not just a real estate agent. He knows these builders. He knows these lenders. He's a guy that's been doing this for decades. And if you're looking for the best deal, you got to find a guy like Bob. 972-392-9595. 972-392-9595. Go ahead, call, get it started. So when a bunch of people take off in July, you can still get that deal done before school starts. 972-392-9595. Thanks, Bob.
You got it. Or they can go to blessyourheart.com.
Hey there, welcome. You're listening to The James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. 800-288-9227. The question is, what do you think is going to happen at the debate tomorrow night? Because it looks like this guy's not walking into a fair fight. It looks like he's walking into what they hope is going to be some sort of rhetorical PR ambush. But you've seen this guy go into the Lion's Den repeatedly and come out unscathed. What are they planning for tomorrow? 800-288-9227. Jim and Rowlett, you're on WBAP. What do you think is going to happen tomorrow?
Well, I think that I love Trump. He can take care of himself, but 3 against 1 is not going to be a fair fight. They will bring up, he is a dictator. He'll never let us go back to a republic after he is elected. And, Biden will just stand there with, he'll just say, my Adderall is draining. And it's just going to be a joke. I am not going to watch it. I am not going to watch it because I've got a pretty expensive television and I may break it.
Tell you what, I'll watch it and then I'll report on your behalf. Just come back to the show on Friday and I'll give you the rundown and we can save your big, beautiful flat screen. You can just go watch Netflix or whatever you're binging right now. I love the criticism that he's going to be a dictator. If he gets in office, he's not going to step down.
He did once.
He already did it. Already. Like, how on earth do you have that comment left? He's going to put you all back in chains. Well, we already know what he's going to do. He did it for 4 years. We don't. Yeah,
I loved being in chains. If that's change, I love it.
Well, I think what you're bringing up here is the 3-on-1. Is he going to be able to hold his own? My concern is that mute button. because they're going to hold down that mute button because they're going to be like, Mr. President, I asked you a question. Now, if you're going to answer that question, I will unmute you. If I unmute this and you're going to go off topic, then I'm going to have to mute you again. And he's not going to go off topic. He is going to stay on there. And there is going to be this sort of Mexican standoff between Trump and this mute button where they're going to try to get him to say something else. They're going to try and control this man and control the flow of information. And doesn't that say a lot about your side of the aisle, that if you have to have such tight, stringent control over the debate process and what is said and heard by the American public, maybe you're on the wrong side of the aisle?
Yeah, we're the Nazis. We're the Nazis.
And that's on my bingo card. I don't know if you were listening to yesterday's show, but I took a bunch of calls and I actually made bingo cards. Thank you very much for your call. Just to let the rest of you know, Jim and Rowlett, thank you for your call. If you want to be after Jim, 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. But I followed through with that. After I put up the podcast yesterday, I whipped out the old Photoshop and I made a debate card, and I thought, okay, well, that's fun. But if you want to play against each other, in the living room, it could be husband versus wife, or if you got kids, or you're going to be watching with the neighbors, or maybe you have roommates. I don't know what your situation is. Or if you are at a bar, you 4 teams could split up and y'all could all play. So I made 4 cards. I think we're going to put them on the website either later today, probably tomorrow, just because I didn't get to it before the show. So not a whole lot's going to happen after the show. But there's 4 of them. So you could print them out. They're printer friendly. There's a little color in them, but I made them specifically so if you wanted to print it with a black and white printer, it'll work just fine. And they're going to take up most of the page so you can read them easily. But if you want them, find me on Facebook or send me an email to james@wbap.com. And, if you don't want to wait for them to get on the website, or maybe we have a technical issue, I don't know. But I'll be happy to get you the bingo cards because they are hilarious. And you participated in them. So this is going to be great. And I actually was looking for the party, and I got invited to a few. And I'm going to go to, to Bottle Rockets, a good acquaintance. I wouldn't say friend because we've never really hung out outside of his bars, but a friend of mine owns that place up there, and they're showing it on the big screen. So I'm going to go up there with some bingo cards, and we're going to make a party out of it. And I don't remember people being this excited about debates before, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun because if nothing magic happens, then no harm, no foul. I don't think you're going to change anyone's vote. But there could be like that NASCAR car crash, and that's what we're waiting on. That's what we're watching for. There might not be the crash, but this is the debate where one of the guys might not make it through, or one of the guys might flip out. One of the guys has the deck stacked so against him, he kind of might have a little chip on his shoulder and be a little irritated to begin with. Jennifer writes in on the Facebook, says, will they escort Trump out of the debate if they think he's insulted their moderators? That's a good point. That is a good, because they got real snippy when Carolyn Levitt was, and look, they were saying, you can't attack our coworkers. Well, she's not pointing out that they've compared Trump to Hitler as decent context for the fact that you're supposed to be talking about the debate that these people are going to be moderating. You can't talk about the possible political persuasions of the moderators. That's not a fair question. Well, if that's not a fair question, then you guys aren't trying to have a fair conversation here. We all see what's going on. 800-288-9227, 800-288-WBAP. Coming up next, should companies go to summer hours to boost employee morale and help combat burnout? We'll talk about that on The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, welcome to The James Show. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. I just spent most of that break emailing bingo cards to random people who figure out my email address, james@wbap.com, james@wbap.com. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, we made bingo cards for The James Show for the presidential debate that's happening tomorrow. It was a fun idea, and I was thinking about doing debate bingo anyway, but I made a whole topic out of it yesterday and took in calls for like 3 segments. And I really did. I made a list. I put it on a Google document. And when I got home, I whipped out the old Photoshop after I put up the podcast, of course. And I made 4 different versions, and they don't all have the same things listed on them, just rearranged. There's some words that are on some cards that aren't on other cards. And since you have 4 different ones, If you're playing along at home, it could be you and a spouse each have 2 cards. It could be you, a spouse, and the neighbors come over, or maybe you can get your kids roped in and they could each get a card. I'm going to be at a bar, actually. I'm going to be watching this like it's a sporting event. I'm going to be up at Bottle Rockets in Plano, shops at Legacy. I used to live up there. Love that area for hanging out. But we're going to have some debate cards, and we're just going to hand them out, and people can play along if you want. If not, whatever. And I may try and lean on the promo department to, I don't know, maybe get some prizes or something. But this is not an official station event. They didn't buy the commercial time. We're not going to have a promo crew set up there. There's not going to be a table, and I'm not going to have like koozies to give away or the little spinny game. It's just going to be that much of a social event. It's going to be probably fun. This debate could be the only debate that you read about in history books other than that original JFK-Nixon debate where he's all sweaty. Seriously, most debates that happen, no effect. You're not going to think about it in one day after the election. None of that will matter anymore. This one might. This one's going to be way different. So if you want to know some of the things that are on the debate bingo cards, racist, hate speech, LGBTQ, women's health care / abortion, because if Trump refers to it, it'll be called abortion. If Biden refers to it, it'll be called women's health care. The convicted felon, I mean, that we might as well put that one in the free square, but the free square, the middle square is going to be free. Convicted felon is going to be on there. You might have to cross that one off in the first 30 seconds. Russian disinformation, crack or cocaine, inflation. Then there's some like colloquial phrases like if he says, "Come on, man." Come on, man. That's one that you get a square for that. If he says, "Build back better," you get a square for that. If there's an awkward pause, if he does the creepy whisper thing, and that was something that I'm glad this is universal because I've noticed this. I'm sure Garrett's noticed this. You may have noticed it. But we had a couple other people call in and say that, and I had a couple people on social media say the creepy whisper thing. That's funny because there's all kinds of adjectives you could have chosen for the whisper thing, but it's the creepy whisper thing because he says, yeah, we passed my Inflation Reduction Act, and guess what? It's working. He does that. Or if they say, what's your message to the Iranians after they killed the Americans in the drone strike? I've got one word. Don't. And don't didn't make it on there, but I think that counts under creepy whisper thing. Corn Pop made it on a couple cards. Hitler or a Nazi reference, illegal alien. Let me be clear, fake news. These are all fun little squares that that are going to be on your presidential debate bingo card. Also has a WBAP logo, and in the middle, the free square, James Show logo. That's how cool. It's a cool card, man. I mean, it's going to really capture the moment. You may want to laminate it and keep it in your keepsakes for that museum they're going to make about you later. But if you want some of the bingo cards, I made 4 different ones, and I'll just send you all 4 of them. You can do whatever you want with them. Send me an email, james@wbap.com. If you send me a Facebook message, I can get them back to you. Just however you get in touch. It's 2024. I feel silly telling you, well, you can find me at wbap.com or the WBAP app. You know how to find me. Probably find just about anybody on the planet. I know you found all your exes, didn't you? Sinner. So that's going to be fun because tomorrow, more debate prep. But Friday, we may be coming in here talking about how this debate means they're going to have to find a new candidate. This debate means that they're going to have to find a way to silently exit this dude. And who are they going to slide into that spot? How are they going to leapfrog anybody over Kamala without hacking off some people who are sensitive about such things? Oh, we look, this show is going to be a good show. Tomorrow, it's going to be a good show. Friday might be a monumental show. Friday might be the show that afterwards I go download the video and I keep that set to the side because this is something we're going to watch in the future. We're going to be pulling highlight reels from this over and over and over. But it's also going to be super interesting because I think you're going to see CNN, you're going to see the people who are moderating the debate be biased in a way like you have never seen before. And we've seen them be biased. We've seen the moderators come in and save the day when the Democrats getting their butt kicked or losing a point or getting something wrong. We saw Candy Crowley jump in and falsely correct Mitt Romney. We saw Martha Raddatz come in and falsely correct Sarah Palin. We saw all these the like when Leslie Stahl interviewed Trump on 60 Minutes, they've always come in and tried to cover for their guy. But now they have a mute button on him. Now they have the chance for whenever Donald Trump's saying something, Jake Tapper's going to be able to hit mute. And Jake Tapper, not some austere, unbiased journalist, but a guy who started his career as a spokesman for a Democrat congresswoman through her campaign and while she was in Congress. Then he went on to a gun control political activist organization and then has been a decidedly biased, air quotes, journalist at either CNN or ABC either since. No, he's not unbiased in the least. And they're aware of this and they're really trying to stop it. I want to see, Vivek Ramaswamy was on CNN yesterday. Listen to just how bad CNN is about this stuff.
I'll also tell you something I told President Trump, and I'll tell you as well, is I give him a lot of credit for doing this debate on the terms that were effectively set by Biden. Hosted by CNN in Atlanta without a live audience would be the equivalent of Joe Biden agreeing to do a Fox News hosted debate in Alabama with 3,000 live audience members. So I give Donald Trump a lot of credit for that. If you're going to lead the country, you got to be able to show up. And that's exactly what he's doing.
Yeah, look, every aspect of this debate was agreed to by the Trump campaign. And, Jake and Dan are award-winning journalists who are relentlessly fair. They will do a fantastic job. The only presidential candidate Republican to lose Georgia in decades is Donald Trump. So Georgia's pretty friendly territory, or should be, at least for a Republican candidate.
Okay, everything that guy just said there is pretty much a lie. Tapper and Dana Bash are solid lefties. They have like connections outside of their journalism world with leftist causes. I already told you about Jake Tapper working for literally Democrats. He's on the payroll, got his check from the Democrat Party. Dana Bash, her first husband, the reason she's called Dana Bash and not Dana Schwartz anymore, her husband's one of the 51 intelligence officers who lied on that letter about the Russian laptop being disinformation. These are not disinterested third parties. And if you want to see how bad it is, the follow-up question to that, listen to how, is this the most biased question CNN can ever ask anybody? It's just about 18 insults. And then what do you think about that?
You have some recent experience on the debate stage, and you were pretty aggressive. And some people liked it, but other people didn't. For instance, the other candidates who were on that stage with you, Nikki Haley said, "You're just scum." Chris Christie called you the most obnoxious blowhard in America.
Is that necessary?
So what lessons did you learn about aggressive tactics?
Dude, he couldn't ask, hey, so what lessons did you learn about aggressive tactics without the insults thrown in there? Hey, let me just read off some insults and then ask you a question. Does he ever do that to people who are on Team Blue? Of course not. Listen to how biased this is, and this is just pre-debate coverage interviews. Tomorrow, something magic's going to happen tomorrow, and I mean that in a bad way. What do you think? 800-288-9227. 800-288-WBAP. I'm James Parker. It's The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey, welcome back to The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. I have no idea what I'm going to talk about this segment because I just spent the entire break sending out bingo cards to you. If you want your bingo cards for tomorrow's debate, James at WBAP. Look, I'll probably get them on the website for tomorrow, but if you don't want to wait, I don't mind emailing you people. In fact, I've never gotten this many emails before. I've gotten more listeners' emails today than I have the first 6 months of doing a show. Like all of those days combined, I've gotten more today than all of that. That's how much you want to get bingo cards. And listen, I'm not letting you down. These are good bingo cards. I made 4 of them. And it's going to be hilarious. We've done this before. And it's just a little way that I can repay you. You can be a little bit of part of the show. Because you helped me make these. I didn't come up with all the 24. I used like 32 different squares because different cards got different squares. But if you want them, James at WBAP.com. I'm learning some stuff, though, getting a bunch of emails from you about every 6th person, which would mean like I'm a pretty even split here on the emails between men and women. But out of the men, every third person, which would be every sixth person overall, is named Chris. A lot of Chris's. And I know this is a metropolitan area of 7 million people or whatever, and there's going to be a bunch of Chris's. But I guess they listen to the show. This show skews very heavily in the Chris demo. And also, I'm surprised to learn that the Chris demo overlaps so strongly with bingo. So that's fantastic. And a lot of girls named Dana or Dana. I didn't know that was as popular either. And I'm also happy because there's some names where I don't know what you are, but I know you're probably not a local. You're not like from Bug Tussle. You're foreign names or something really wild or extravagant or something like your parents made up. Getting quite a few of those. And that makes me feel good because I don't just want to get like your standard conservative talk radio audience. I would like to branch out a little bit. And I think bingo, I set the cards up in a way that even if you hate Trump, or even if you love Biden, or even if you don't have a dog in the hunt, it's still going to be fun to play because not all the phrases are something that Biden would say or something that Trump would say, and not all of them are flattering to one candidate or another. It's a good mix. And if you can't have fun, if you can't poke a little bit of jokes at your own side of the aisle, you're taking this way too serious. And this also shows something that it betrays what's really going on out there in flyover country versus what you see on TV. Because I have just begun to push back so hard on this idea because you hear it over and over that America is so polarized and we're more divided than ever. No, we're not. No, we're not. Not really. No, not. Look, maybe you feel like that if all you do is watch TV, but if you get out on the sidewalk and talk to people, no. If you're in a major metropolitan area and you think, well, maybe the people in the country are just all foaming at the mouth, hate-filled bigots, and they're just driven by hate, and that's all they do is hate, and that's why they like Trump because he's Hitler and they love Hitler. Man, they must be evil people. Well, get in your car, drive an hour in any direction, and see if your experience matches what you're being told on TV. It's not. It's not. I see us getting along fantastically. I have a mix of friends who all seem to get along. Of course, there's going to be some boogers on both sides of the aisle who think the other side is just so awful that they can't even be friends with them. But generally speaking, the stuff you see on TV, like this idea that there's like racial animus is a significant problem in the modern United States in 2024, that doesn't bear out when you go outside. That doesn't bear out when you go to work or when you go to school or when your kids are playing on a soccer team and, you know, the team's all mixed and it's not like anyone's throwing ethnic slurs around. All the parents get along. You still go to birthday parties that are mixed. It's a lot better than they like to paint on TV. And that's been your experience. But you're such a good person that when you see this stuff on TV, you're like, oh, no, I know my life is great, but I see other people suffering and that bothers me. And it should. Just don't let yourself be exploited by that. Oh, man. And I'm loving the pre-debate coverage. It is, look, this is really the first debate where I have to tell you that this could decide not only who's going to win the election, but whether or not this dude's even going to be a candidate. You have never gone and watched a presidential debate. Now, usually they happen in like September, October, where you were watching this and you thought that there was a chance after this debate, one dude could do so bad he wouldn't be the candidate anymore. You have not seen that, have you? So if you're a little like getting exasperated with politics and debate talk, and look, this is different. This is the first debate that you're going to see that can supplant the candidate after it was already known that he was going to be the candidate. Of course, it's also weird because technically speaking, neither one of them are the candidate. Neither one of them, they're both the presumptive nominee. You've never seen that before. You've never seen the two nominees debate before they were the nominees, before the conventions. So much weird stuff going on. And they're so circling the rat wagons so hard on this that this is going to be fun. I look. Jake Tapper and Dana Bash may be the story at the end of the debate. It may have nothing to do with Donald Trump and Joe Biden. But if Dana Bash and Jake Tapper believe the things that they say, where Donald Trump's a liar and is horrible and the long national nightmare of his presidency is over and all he does is lie and he's literally Hitler, they're going to abuse that mute button. And you and I are going to be left in the aftermath of saying, did the rest of the world see how much this whole debate setup was rigged against him? Because whether you agree with him or not, if you follow the sort of populist line of thinking, which is right and left, Marxists say this, capitalists say this sometimes, but like there's this secret cabal of people and they just want to control you and run everything and control all the levers of power, whether it's in the government or corporations. And then you see the people with the levers of power are all on Team Blue. Well, that doesn't make Trump the next Hitler. That doesn't make him an authoritarian dictator. That makes him what? That makes him the resistance. If you're the one who can get offended and get somebody fired for saying something you don't like, you're not the victim. You're the oppressor. If all the major corporations, when it's time to fly the flag of whether it's whatever your cause is, whether it's BLM or Pride Month or anything to that effect, if all the major corporations are siding with you and none of them are doing anything for your political opposition, you're not the rebel. You're not the resistance. You're the mindless foot soldier of the elites. So the NFL can do some Pride Month stuff, or they can put in racism in the end zone, or they can take a knee like all the Dallas Cowboys can lock arms and take a knee when Colin Kaepernick was doing their thing. Did they ever do anything for like the Second Amendment? Hey, we just want to remind you, take your kid out to the gun range. No, not once. So if your political ideology is snuffed by the elites, maybe you are part of the resistance. And I think maybe some people are starting to see that, and this debate could accelerate that quite a bit. 800-288-9227. 800-288-WBAP. Coming up next, we're going to talk to Jennifer Hargrave, family law attorney, about getting divorced. Is it cool to have a divorced gift registry? That's a thing now. That's coming up on The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. So if you own a house, there's certain things that you're never going to have to worry about. You're never going to have to redo the bricks on the side of I've owned a house. I never had to redo the bricks on the side. I never had to redo the concrete on the front porch. But there's one thing that on a long enough time scale on every house, it's going to have to be fixed, and that's your roof. So I want you to remember this company, this name, Paradigm Roofing. Because whenever you may not have to replace your roof right now or tomorrow or next month, but one day you will. And I don't want you to be stuck playing Google roulette trying to find someone to get on your roof and take care of one of the most important parts of your house. I want you to know Greg Hiltz. This is the guy who's going to make sure it gets done for you and it gets done right. Because at Paradigm Roofing, not only do they send out a full-time supervisor on every job site, and they will walk around it with you 3 times to make sure that you're happy, everything's done. We got all the junk up out of the yard, everything looks good. If you have any problems with that supervisor, on the bottom of the contract in your left hand is Greg Hiltz, the owner's cell phone number. So there's always going to be accountability. There's always going to be transparent pricing on your estimates. And if you have any problems, it's not Google roulette, it's call the owner. So you don't have to hope for a good roofing contractor. You can call the only roofing company I recommend to you, because I know they'll treat you right. Paradigm Roofing, 972-542-7774, 972-542-7774. You can get your appointment online at paradigmroofs.com or 972-542-7774. Hey there, welcome. This is The James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Let's go. We are all getting ready for the big debate tomorrow night. This could be the first debate, the presidential debate in history, where the candidates won't match the second debate, because if somebody does bad, he's probably going to get replaced. And what we have here is sort of a presidential debate. Also, sort of a Democrat candidate audition. Like this is your Custer's last stand here. If you're going to replace this guy, y'all need to figure that out pretty soon. Well, to help break down one of the weirdest election cycles you've seen in your lifetime, Raven Harrison's back on the show. Raven, I've been invited to a handful of parties here. I don't remember getting invited to parties for previous debate years, but this is just a little weirder.
Well, that's good. You're on the A list now.
Right. Well, it's like it's not like an official party. One of my friends who has a bar is going to be showing it on the big screen, and a bunch of us are just showing up. Are you going to go out and watch this, or are you staying home?
No, I got to stay home, but I acknowledge that it's going to be a great night for Uber. If you're drinking based on the merits of Joe Biden, then just keep it in keep it in perspective, and remember, alcohol poisoning is real.
Well, Raven, after our last conversation, me and the listeners sat down for a couple segments. I fielded a bunch of calls and emails and social media comments, and I put together 4 debate cards bingo cards for the debate last night. I'll be happy to share them with you if you want them, but we're making a game out of it.
Well, so are we, and we've got a really good one for the center square. So it's going to be interesting. But what I'm finding really funny, James, is we got a leaked correspondence, and they've already declared Biden the winner. They're already ready to bump the fake polls. So if he freezes during the entire debate, they're still going to classify that as a win.
Explain this. I don't know about the leaked correspondence. This is the first I'm hearing. What you got?
What they're saying is that coming out is they have been ready to just flood the social media space with algorithms saying that that Biden won. Doesn't matter what he does. They're going to go out and push that he won the debate, so he could freeze for the entire thing and he will have won it. And they are really, really panicking behind the scenes. And so they're planning to put all their bots out there to boost these polls. So they will be, mark this, James, there will be a corresponding 2-point bump in the polls after this, no matter what he does.
Wouldn't that go against their preferences if he does so bad that he's got to be replaced?
Well, no, because it goes right in. That way you can, and that's the thing about gaslighting, is you get to change the rules as you go along.
Okay.
If you start it with, he did great, but just in case he didn't do great, we're going to go ahead and replace him. But he did great. Did we mention he did great?
He did great. We're not replacing him because he did bad. He just wants to step down, and we don't want to force him to run against his will, even though he would easily win. Yeah, it's going to be a hard narrative to sell. But the thing that I've been trying to focus on with the people who listen to this show is I don't think you understand just how biased and I don't want to say he's walking into a trap, but he is walking into a very antagonistic setting where it's going to be 3-on-1 because Dana Bash, Jake Tapper, clearly pro-Biden, anti-Trump, but also this mute button. The temptation for Jake Tapper to abuse that is real.
Well, it's going to be real, and he's used to that. I mean, he walked into the CNN, President Trump did, to the CNN town hall. The first one, everybody said, wow, why is he doing this at CNN? And CNN, I mean, they were hammering him, and she was trying to steer the interview in the wrong way. He pulled out receipts out of his jacket like a boss. But again, we are expecting that. It's not going to have the impact they have. It's just really sad that we all know this is what it's going to be. They're all going to be whatever they can do, but we all know this is a weekend at Bernie's, and they can't throw him across the finish line. So they have to lie, cheat, and boost the propaganda, which is really sad, because if you're having to do all that, then therein lies the problem. But yes, they are going to do that, and he knows very well what he's walking into. But he doesn't need to be scripted. He doesn't need to be handled and force-fed. I mean, Biden is hiding. I mean, who needs a week? Who's been in politics for 52 years? He needs a week to prepare for a debate?
That's a great point. Carolyn Levitt made that point on, I think it was Jesse Waters last night. Let me play that real quick. This is a Trump spokesman.
One of the most underreported stories this week is the fact that the leader of the free world, Joe Biden, has to prep for a debate for a whole week. He can't govern and do both, not one public schedule. It really is quite concerning that that's the leader of our country.
It's never happened in the history of American politics that the president's taken week off to prepare to do his job.
All right, so let's be super cynical. What's really going on here? Of course he doesn't need a whole week to prepare for a debate. It's just a great excuse to keep him out of the public eye, to keep him from running into walls or wandering off or saying gibberish words or freezing and having the sort of blue screen of death. But also,
they are in triage, James. What they're doing right now is they're adjusting his medication. They are changing his sleep cycle to try to prevent him from sundowning during this event. And they are giving him a cocktail of medication that would make Keith Richards blush.
Yeah, well, Keith Richards be like, I'll take 2 of those. He can handle it.
Twice on Sunday.
All right, Raven Harrison, I'm telling you another thing to look out for. This is just me being cynical beyond the norm. These 2 scheduled commercial breaks, I don't think they're scheduled. I think they're going to be used as a sort of emergency breaks for if things are not going their way or things are going off the rails, or if Trump is making a point, or if they keep having to mute Trump and he won't get off of it. I think that they're going to use these 2 commercial breaks strategically.
I have technical difficulties, and I have technical in air quotes for the people at home, but technical difficulties is my center bingo square.
Oh, that's a good one.
Technical difficulties, and the screen goes dark, okay, while they're shuttling him out and looking for a new diaper.
Man, I love how fired up you are about this. Thanks for being on the show again, Raven.
Thanks, James.
Find her at ravenharrison.com, ravenharrison.com. Coming up next, I got jokes. Stick around for a monologue. It's The James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. When you went out and bought a home, did you buy something knowing it was a fixer-upper? And then you got it, and you've been doing a good job. Every time you get a little bit of extra money, you can invest it back into your house. And now it's not a fixer-upper. Now it's slowly morphing into your dream home. I think one of the next steps you have to do is get Leaf Filter. That's the filter you put on top of your gutter so nothing gets in your gutters but the water. It keeps all the other gunk out, all the leaves and the sticks, sometimes animals and spider webs and pine needles are the worst. Keeps all that stuff out of your gutter. And it's the next upgrade your house deserves. Your house has been good to you. Treat it with Leaf Filter. It's made by Leaf Home. And not only do you get a fantastic product with a lifetime guarantee, you're going to get a little discount if you go to leaffilter.com/WBAP. Of course, we get a little credit and Leaf Filter be like, oh, WBAP crowd likes us. I think we'll keep advertising with them. So it helps me out and it also helps you out. 20% discount for everyone. You get another 10% if you're a senior or military veteran. So you may be getting 30% off on that next upgrade on this house that you're slowly morphing into your dream house. Go to leaffilter.com/WBAP. leaffilter.com/WBAP.